Okay people, we got another episode of Fornever News, and in today's episode, for starters, the first story we will be talking about is Dragon Ball fans are in an outrage. People, Dragon Ball fans are upset with Funimation. Funimation recently announced something that has Dragon Ball fans not too happy, and we all know that for a while now Dragon Ball fans and Funimation has had some tension. So yeah, we're going to talk about that story. We also got another story. One of the biggest illegal anime streaming services is down, and people are freaking out about that. They're like, yo, what's going on? What do I do? Where do I watch anime? We're gonna jump into that one as well. About a day or so ago, there was a story about Avatar's creators walking away from a project with Netflix. We're gonna get into all the juicy gossip regarding that one. Crunchyroll just released a trailer and an announcement for an upcoming anime that is going to be their third shot at releasing a webtoons anime adaptation with Noblesse. I believe that's how you pronounce it. We're gonna get into that one as well. And lastly, we got some good news and some bad news regarding some sales of some Shonen Jump titles. Some series are doing excellent. Some of them look like, despite them sounding really interesting and creative, they're not doing so well, and they might head to the chopping block. So yeah, we got quite a few stories we're gonna get into. Let's talk some of that Fornever News, people. Let's do it.
I say we gonna do what we do, no matter how you move, make your move. That's how it be though.
Okay people, so like I said, our first story is about Dragon Ball fans being in an outrage because just recently Funimation announced another release for Dragon Ball Z. Now, Dragon Ball Z, to my knowledge, has been released, I want to say, I've read somewhere about like 14 times on disc now, not to mention all the times on VHS, or the VHS releases that it's had and whatnot. Dragon Ball Z has been milked to death, and Funimation is trying to see if the cow has anything left to give, because they announced these steelbooks, and I ain't gonna lie, in terms of the art of the steelbooks, just like in terms of the 30th anniversary set that I want to say they released last year, if I'm not mistaken, the art looks cool and all, but from my understanding, the reason why the Dragon Ball fans are upset and angry with this is that they're releasing the same version that was on that anniversary set last year, which is a 4x3, but with some terrible masters. I want to say it's basically like a 4x3 version of a slightly better version, anyway, of the orange bricks, but still not that good, nowhere close to anything like, you know, the dragon boxes and whatnot, and people are just like, yo, Funimation, give it up. Call it quits. You got, out of 14 releases, I think only 9 or 10 of them have been actually complete of the Dragon Ball Z series. Now, to be honest with you, I think that this is going to sell, and I'm going to tell you why. For starters, there's a whole fandom of Dragon Ball fans that don't know about, like, you know, this situation regarding the film. They don't even care, for that matter, about what the show looks like in terms of like, yo, the remastering process was terrible, whatever. They're gonna buy them. You shove those steelbooks like, ooh, they're shiny, they're nice, you shove them in a Walmart shelf, people are going to pick them up. I can assure you that. So I think they are going to sell, especially considering people maybe they might have missed out on the 30th anniversary, or they sold their orange bricks a while ago because they didn't want DVD no more. I can see people picking these up. I'm not picking them up. I've bought in Dragon Ball Z too many times already. Like, the buck has stopped a while ago with me buying Dragon Ball Z releases. I think the last real Dragon Ball Z release I bought was like the Blu-ray sets that they released a while ago, not the 30th anniversary, which I think is using the same mastering process that they're using for these steelbooks and shit. So I'm definitely not picking them up, and I can understand why fans are like, yo, Funimation, enough is enough. How many more releases of Dragon Ball are you gonna do? They're gonna do a lot, because you gotta think, it costs them every time to renew that license. They need to pay a big fee, right? And they need to make it up somehow. So they're gonna keep on re-releasing Dragon Ball Z. They're gonna probably try to do like a 3D version eventually, and yeah, Dragon Ball Z is going to continue being released, but until they give us a release at the level of like the Dragon Ball Z Dragon boxes, there's kind of no point in picking these up, especially if you already have it on Blu-ray multiple times. It's like, yeah, it's the same show, same shit, terrible remaster. Yeah. Next up, the top illegal anime streaming service, KissAnime, is down, and people are freaking out. People are like, yo, what the hell is going on? Where am I gonna watch my anime now? I'll be honest with you, KissAnime has went down many times throughout the year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they return yet again here shortly. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of this is a battle between like the legal streaming services, their legal teams, and all sorts of methods to get them the hell out of here, but yeah, they're down for now. Again, I could see them returning, but either way, if you're wondering where the hell could I watch anime, there's plenty of ways that are actually free. If people don't know that Crunchyroll, you can watch anime on there for free. They just have ads on there, which is like, hey, it's like kind of like cable, I guess you could say, in a way of like having advertisements, but there's a giant library of, you can watch thousands of fucking anime, or at the very least hundreds of anime with just some ads on there. So if you want to watch anime on Crunchyroll, you can. I think Funimation, don't quote me on that, but I want to say Funimation has a way of watching the shows as well for free. So you got Funimation there. So there's other ways to watch anime. KissAnime wasn't the end all be all for people that don't know where to go. I know you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't want to pay for Netflix. Understandable, you don't want to pay for it, whatever, but there's other avenues as well, so don't feel bad. There's still ways to get your anime watching on. Like, KissAnime wasn't the end all be all, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if they're back probably by the time this video goes up. Okay, so next up is a series that some people argue is anime. People argue that Avatar is an anime, so I kind of wanted to report in on this. People are a bit upset of what's going on right now because the original creators that were working with Netflix to create a live action adaptation, and I want to say it was supposed to be a series, it wasn't just going to be a film, it was going to be a series, have walked away from the project. I've seen some reports coming in and out, but one of the creators in particular released some statements, so we're going to read those and we'll talk some more. Brian Konizetsko said, "Before I get to the crux of this statement, I would like to make it clear that I am very aware and appreciative of the fact that I am in an exceedingly fortunate position and that the following issues are indeed good problems to have, even more so now that we are in the grips of a global pandemic and a cratering economy which have left millions unemployed. With that crucial context, here is the big news from my little world. Michael DiMartino and I recently chose to leave Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series he and I created together in 2002. We will have no involvement in the project moving forward. This is probably the most difficult decision I have ever made, but there is no doubt in my mind it was absolutely the right choice. When Netflix brought me on board to run this series alongside Mike 2 years ago, they made a very public promise to support our vision. Unfortunately, there was no follow-through on that promise. Though I got to work with some great individuals, both on Netflix side and on our own small development team, the general handling of the project created what I felt was a negative and unsupportive environment. To be clear, this was not a simple matter of us not getting our way. Mike and I are collaborative people. We did not need all of the ideas to come from us. As long as we felt those ideas were in line with the spirit and integrity of Avatar, we would have happily embraced them. However, we ultimately came to the belief that we would not be able to meaningfully guide the direction of the series. Though I am profoundly disappointed by how things turned out, there are wonderfully talented people who are still working on the series, some of whom Mike and I personally hired and got to know well during our time on the project. We worked very hard together towards a shared dream of how special this adaptation could be. I want to see them employed, and I hope they get the chance to do their best work on the series. Perhaps the team that remains might still be able to make something fans of the original and an entirely new audience can enjoy." And I'm not sure how legit this is, but some of the, I'm going to classify them as rumors. Again, I don't know if Netflix came out and said this or the other creator came out and said this, but some of the things people say are the reason why they left is they wanted a bigger budget, they didn't want to whitewash any of the characters, and Netflix wanted the show to be more mature by aging up the characters and including more violence and sex. Which, to be honest with you, it just sounds like they were going down the same path that the live action film that everybody regards as a horrible film went. It seems as though that they just wanted to do that again. Like, they don't understand that, hey, that didn't work. Hey, if you just stick closer to the original vision and at the same time you listen to the creators, you're going to have something very well done. So the fact that they wanted to go down that route, it seems like they didn't learn anything from the catastrophe that was the live action film that came out years ago. Very, very disappointing. I was looking forward to seeing what they would do with it, to be honest with you. And the fact that Netflix got the Avatar cartoon on recently, I was like, yo, they got the animated series. That means that they're making moves to build up the fandom and excitement for this shit, and then it went to the wayside because, to be honest with you, most people are not excited at all. Most people are saying they're not even going to watch it at this point now that the creators have walked away. If I was one of the higher ups at Netflix, I would do everything in my power to get these people back on board, make an actual contractual promise to allow them to guide this series, because without them it seems as though they're again going down the route that the live action film went, and nobody's going to want that shit. So yeah, very, very shitty situation. Hopefully they could get it together. Hopefully they get these people back on board, because if not, yeah, it's a train wreck waiting to happen. Next up, Crunchyroll has announced and showed the trailer and the release date for the upcoming anime. Again, I believe it's called Noblesse. Now, people have been really excited about this one because it has a very core fan base of people that really have enjoyed the webtoon, because this is an adaptation of a webtoon, also a manhwa, if I'm not mistaken, and people are really excited. I seen the trailer. Trailer looks dope. Let's quickly read the article. Crunchyroll and Webtoons Noblesse reveals new trailer and visual. This October marks the debut debut of another Crunchyroll original with the upcoming anime adaptation of writer Jae-ho Song and illustrator Kangwoo Lee webtoon series Noblesse. The series is being directed by Yatsutaka Yamamoto, who did Sumo Hinomaru, with Shunsuke Tada as chief director, Sayaka Harada on series composition, and Akiharu Ishii handling character designs and chief animation supervision. While we wait for the fall premiere, Crunchyroll shared a new trailer, which the trailer looked dope, and the visual. Again, I'm not too familiar with this series. There's actually a synopsis right here, so we could get a little bit more familiarized with it, and the launch time is October 2020 in North America. It says, Rizel awakens from his 820-year slumber. Sounds like some Dracula shit. He holds the special title of Noblesse, a pure-blooded noble and protector of all other nobles. In an attempt to protect Rizel, his servant Frankenstein enrolls him at Yeeran High School, where Rizel learns the simple and quotidian routines of the human world through his classmates. However, the Union, a secret society plotting to take over the world, dispatched modified humans and gradually encroaches on Rizel's life, causing him to wield his mighty power to protect those around him. After 820 years of intrigue, the secrets behind his slumber are finally revealed, and Rizel's absolute protection as the Noblesse begins. Now, for the most part, the two anime that we've gotten that were Crunchyroll originals thus far, which there may have been more, but the ones that I'm familiar with that were also webtoon adaptations, The God of High School and Tower of God, have been pretty good. People have complained about the Tower of God's pacing. To be honest with you, I cannot vouch on that complaint. First of all, I never read the webtoon for the Tower of God, but also I felt like it was a dope adaptation. I love the Tower of God. That was one of my favorite, that is one of my favorite anime that debuted in 2020 so far. So Tower of God, I think they knocked it out the park. God of High School, I think the adaptation itself isn't, from what I've seen so far, the best in terms of, it seems as though the pacing is rocket fire. Like, the pacing is competing with the speed of the fastest Dragon Ball character of all time. Like, that's how fast this shit is going, but the art and animation has been gorgeous, and I enjoy it for the most part. It's a pretty dope show, so I'm hoping that with Noblesse, they could meet it in the middle of, like, okay, the pacing is great, everything about it will be dope, but we just gotta wait and see. That synopsis honestly sounds pretty freaking interesting. Sounds like some vampire shit with crazy powers, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And either way, it's like, okay, Crunchyroll, let's see what you do. And either way, Crunchyroll has been doing some pretty awesome stuff with their anime, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this one. It's like, okay, third quarter, next anime, let's do this. And lastly, we got some updated sales from Oricon for some of the latest manga in Shonen Jump. And there's some good news and some bad news, because in terms of like which they're calling them veterans now. I guess if you're around for like a year and some change, you become a veteran. But essentially, series like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man are doing very well. Let's quickly read this. Oricon for August volumes is now here. Most of the veterans make similar numbers to their previous volumes, except Chainsaw Man that keeps a steady growth. I love hearing that. Chainsaw Man deserves it so much. Yes! And Mashal becomes the first newbie to rank with its second volume. Sadly, we'll get into it sadly, but I just gotta say that is so dope, because taking a look at the sales for Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen, like Haikyuu, it's already out of, it ended, but that's great sales, 345,000 for one of the final volumes. There's probably like a couple more to come, but really dope for Haikyuu. But Jujutsu Kaisen, 162,000. Chainsaw Man is not far off. What is that, like 30 something thousand, 38,000 off between Chainsaw and Jujutsu Kaisen. Chainsaw Man has been making leaps and bounds recently. I keep telling you guys about it. Chainsaw Man, don't listen to me though. I only, have been talking about this shit for like 10 years now. But Chainsaw Man, really, really dope shit, selling very well. But then, back to that sadly point. Sadly, none of the other newbies managed to rank. And then it says, according to Shoseki's estimations on this first week, Yozakura Family sold 16,000. Time Paradox Ghost Rider has only sold 4,700 copies. Mora King sold 4,000. Mitama Security 3. Yeah, I can see why they canceled Mitama Security. 3,600 copies. Bone Collection 20. Oh god. G-Witch wasn't even ranked. So it seems as though out of like the newbies, the only one that is so far succeeding. And I don't think Undead Unluck had a new volume in this batch. So again, Undead Unluck might be an exception as well. But Mashal 25,000, which isn't the greatest, because I want to say that Samurai 8 was selling around there, and they got rid of Samurai 8 too, so it's not the greatest in the world. But I think they're betting on Mashal. Mashal will be around for a long time to come. But yeah, the one out of all of these series, aside from again Mashle, that I was kind of interested in was Time Paradox Ghost Rider, because I've heard great things, but it doesn't seem to be selling very well. I hope that doesn't mean it'll be on the chopping block. I'm not sure how much Bakuman did back in the day, but I hear it's somewhat like a sci-fi version of Bakuman, and I love Bakuman, so hopefully it picks up in sales, because I don't want to see that one canceled. But shout out to Mashle, shout out to Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen. The new era is here, baby. It's crazy. Black Clover and My Hero Academia, I still feel like they're newbies, but in actuality, they're like what Naruto and Bleach were back in the day. They're kind of like staples already, and these are the new ones being ushered in. But I'm curious what you guys think about all these stories we talked about. For starters, how do you feel about Funimation releasing yet again another edition of Dragon Ball Z, this time with these steelbooks? Will you be picking them up and checking them out? Also, what do you think about the Avatar creators leaving the live action series? Are you going to still watch that regardless, or like it's dead to you, that's it? Personally, I think it's going to be a massive train wreck with them leaving. Just a thought. KissAnime being down. Again, I gave you some recommendations of some sites that you can check out that you can watch anime for free if you need to. Also, what do you think about the new anime that Crunchyroll got coming out, Noblesse? Like, I'm excited for that one. I think that that's going to be like, October is looking packed, fam. October's looking like, yo, we got Jujutsu Kaisen, now we got Noblesse. Like, there's some anime coming, fam. And your thoughts on these series that were not ranking so well, and Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu ranking well? Like, again, I really hope out of all of the ones that kind of didn't sell very well, that Time Paradox Ghost Rider picks up, because that looks pretty good. And your overall thoughts on any of the topics we talked about in this video. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in.
It's nights like this, in times like this,
What's that?
that I can give another hit. But I've got this inside a switch.